What's poppin', y'all? Welcome back to another reaction. The homie PartickCC. It's been a while, but I gotta react to my nigga Bo Burnhams. I do not know who that is. Final warning before he disappeared. Oh no! Whoever this is, he teleported this. First of all, let's acknowledge my hair is looking crazy as fuck, my nigga. I should really get a haircut, but I want to see if I can get some braids, and I want the hairline to be. It's gonna be absurd. I cannot wait. But anyways, let's check out the homie PartickCC, bro. Hey, get that boy PartickCC and subscribe. Make sure you get your boy subscribed. We're about 20 away from 100, I think, or like 20 to 30 away from 100. Let's get this 100 subscribers, guys, so I can get that premium, and then we'll never have a commercial again. But fair warning, there probably will be some commercials in this mug, so let's check it out.
2006, and nobody knew that the world's greatest social experiment had just planted its roots in the digital soil of the internet. YouTube was born, alongside other buzzing online social connection platforms like Facebook and MySpace. At the time, it was just a fun way to connect with others. Little did we know it was going to drive us all into the deepest, numbest, most disconnected feeling of human isolation, all while spreading mass paranoia, giving most of us depression and anxiety. At the nucleus of this dystopian nightmare was a comedian that some may see as a modern-day philosopher, Bo Burnham. Bo uploaded his first video in December 2006 and became a superstar in the modern entertainment world. However, his superstardom was built off his eerily self-aware prophecies about the death of society in the form of engagement, surveillance, and distractions that make you feel all fuzzy inside. And while he distracted you with his silly jokes and musical numbers, he also tried to warn all of us about our pending doom. But it was too late. All he could do from there was benefit from the very system he spent his whole life trying to convince you to destroy. And since most people laughed off his warnings and didn't take them seriously, he realized it would be better to just disappear. Today, he is nowhere to be found. Today, we are going to deep dive into the story of Bo Burnham, the reluctant prophet of the internet age.
How do I accomplish what you've accomplished? What's your advice for young people?
I'd say, well, you gotta just take a deep breath and give up. The system is rigged against you. Your hard work and talent will not pay off.
Bo Burnham's family thought he was gay, so the 16-year-old wrote a song about it and unintentionally infiltrated the internet and comedy landscape when he uploaded the video of him performing the song to YouTube.
My whole family now suspects that watching SpongeBob had side effects. But I'm not gay, and that's what I said. If I'm gay, God's write me dead.
That's fucked up.
That's weird.
It's hard to imagine a video like this going viral today, as most people would just call it corny or cringe and move on. But at the time, YouTube was a new and exciting way to share videos online. Most of the content was amateur, and many people saw it as a fun platform where anyone could post videos of personal moments, funny memes, and random life experiences. And anyone who spent a considerable amount of time on the internet at this point was still considered to be fringe and weird, which is also likely the reason why they gravitated towards Bo. The video's virality is largely credited to Burnham's awkward yet quirky demeanor. He didn't present himself as the greatest musician in the world, but rather just an ordinary theater kid trying to make his brother laugh. I definitely didn't put it up there as like, this is my ticket out of this town. I had written these songs and I wanted to show them to my brother who's in college. And at the time, YouTube was nothing. No one knew what it was. It was just like another outlet, and I didn't think of it as a career move. Once the video was shared to another video aggregate site called Break.com, it skyrocketed to 250,000 listens in a day. Now today, a 250,000 views seems small, but back then it was an astronomical amount of people to have seen a video in one day. It was very strange because I saw this giant number and then I went to school and nothing was different. And I think it started a lifelong journey of these two separate sort of narratives being absolutely incoherent but overlaid on top of each other. From the very moment Bo's internet career started, he realized the bleak world of entertainers, especially those on social media. On one hand, they represent an idealized version of human potential, and on the other hand, they possibly don't deserve the attention they receive because, well, they're just another human. The problem then compounds because social media personalities rely on attention to maintain their financial livelihoods. This balance of needing, wanting, and also sometimes not wanting the attention is something Bo struggled with from day one. Despite that, he continued to upload videos of his comedic songs, fostering a cult-like fanbase in the process. All of Burnham's early videos were recorded in and around his family's house in Hamilton, Massachusetts. In his bedroom, Bo couldn't look any more like the average 2007 American teen. Swoopy, Justin Bieber-ish hair, a t-shirt likely bought from Target, or a collar and necktie if he was trying to ironically look dressed up. His His songs were written and performed alongside an acoustic guitar or the classic early 2000s digital electric piano.
And I want you, yeah, like JFK, wanted a car with a roof.
Bo's flamboyance, musical style, and genuine talent showed his prowess as a theater kid. Now, all teenagers across all generations are awkward and struggle to discover their identity while navigating social expectations. But theater kids are often looked at as the most awkward or weird because they typically don't try to match the social standards of their peers. But Bo was a little different. His commentary on pop culture combined with his edgy humor allowed him to appeal to the cool kids or adults online, which is probably why he earned such a large fan base and led to every one of his videos surpassing multiple millions of views.
Go to a vagina orchard, count 1, 2, 3, spin that plane around, you got a third world country. That's right. Consider yourself warned, I'm offensive and creative like handicap porn. You're playing with your breasts. Excuse me, can I try it, ma'am? You're pushing them together like a titty Venn diagram. Look at that crack, excuse me, can I buy a gram? Right below your diaphragm. Ass looks like you're hiding ham.
But because of his edgy lyrics, some of his songs have today been deemed offensive, including one called Clan Cookout, which is a song where Bo is inviting people to a cookout that is hosted by a clan member.
Here's my wife / sister, she brightens up my day. She went away and I missed her, cause my mom's a lousy lay. Don't hang with foreign fellows, it'll only be your loss. Stay here and roast marshmallows by the burning cross.
That's creative.
At the clan cookout.
Or his song titled Perfect Woman, where Bo describes Helen Keller, the deaf and blind author, as the ideal woman for a relationship.
At Harbor Freight, we rigorously test and refine.
Now, of course, with this pussification of the United States, probably / the world, these songs will be deemed extremely offensive. But I bet you get any random person like me, and the first thing they're gonna do, as I just did, is chuckle for show and laugh. Because them is some funny ass concept. He's putting great things together, great words. I'm sure he's not trying to be offensive, so get off your damn high horse and enjoy it. Where's the homie at?
Perfect woman, but I don't think she cared. I played the song for her, she just sat there and stared. She was still my perfect woman, I was sort of a mess. I asked her to marry me, she said yeah.
At the time, these jokes were seen as just status quo, typical edgy teenage humor. Today, people think the punchlines didn't age too well. By the time he graduated in 2008, he already secured a Hollywood agent, Douglas Edley, who represented several top-tier comedians including Drew Carey and Dave Chappelle. Bo was able to transition quickly from YouTube to live performances and other traditional entertainment opportunities. One of his most memorable was his performance at YouTube Live, not so much for his song, but rather his mortified reaction to Katy Perry's awkward intro.
He's funny, he's filthy, and he's gotten over 20 million views on his YouTube, and he's only 18 years old. Thank God you're 18 at least. He's here to play his world premiere of his new song. Welcome to YouTube. Come on, everybody, make some noise for Bo Burnham!
Thank you, Mrs. Perry.
Although many consider him a pioneer of YouTube, Bo had his sights set on Hollywood. I always wanted to be a comedian and actor, Burnham explained. I basically stumbled into the music medium though. Musically, he adds, I'm okay, but that's about it. I like to think I'm good enough not to negatively affect the performance. From there, YouTube would just become this sort of catalog or landing page where he would return whenever it was time to release new material. Entering 2009, he leveled up his production higher than ever, releasing his first self-titled album. The album mostly included songs that had already been uploaded to his channel. He said, I wanted to show respect for the online community, that I think what pleases you guys, what you guys like, is good enough for any medium. The album received positive reviews from critics and peaked at #1 on the US Billboard Comedy Albums chart. It also entered the US Billboard Independent Albums chart, peaking at number 12, and was later certified gold. Despite seeing much success early on in his career, not everyone were exactly huge fans of his comedy. On March 2nd, 2009, 15 Westminster College students protested his concert there that evening due to his use of homophobic and racist language.
Gay bashing is wrong, which is so ironic because gay bashers would label me, as gay, so I was like the butt of that, and then all of a sudden I'm a gay basher. In 6 months, I completely changed. Who'd have thunk it?
Bo continued to defend his jokes. I try and write satire that's well-intentioned, but those intentions have to be hidden. It can't be completely clear, and that's what makes it comedy. This small incident ultimately had no impact on his career. He embarked on his first nationwide tour titled The Fake ID Tour. He booked more televised events like an appearance on Carson Daly's MTV show and NBC's Late Night with Jimmy Fallon. And he even earned a 20-minute Comedy Central stand-up special called Fractions Speak Louder Than Words.
Because having sex is like quadratic expansion. If it can't be split, then it's time to stop. And having sex is like doing fractions. It's improper for the larger one to be on top. Yeah, having sex is like math homework. I do it best when I'm alone in my bed. And squaring numbers are just like women. If they're under 13, just them in your head.
At age 19, Burnham debuted his stand-up routine, Words, 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 at the Boston House of Blues, becoming the youngest person ever to get an hour-long special on Comedy Central. The album charted on 4 separate Billboard charts and peaked at #1 on the Billboard Comedy chart. And while his music gradually became more mainstream, his audience didn't seem to care. If anything, they applauded Burnham's improved wordplay and ability to remain true to himself. Also, he was being recognized as a fresh face in comedy. He was able to sit down with legends like Judd Apatow, Mark Maron, Ray Romano, and Gary Shandling.
Is that Bo actually, when he performs, there's a lot of ironic detachment there. There's a lot of, you're not really revealing anything yourself.
I never talk about what I really think about on stage directly because I just don't think, I don't value what I think at this point. I don't think anyone wants to get up and hear a 20-year-old tell them what they think about how the world works.
Would you do me a favor?
So I just kind of make jokes.
Would you do me a favor? Would you do Art is Dead?
Must be psychotic, it must be demented to think that I'm worthy of all this attention, of all of this money you worked really hard for. I slept in late while you worked at the drugstore. My drug's attention, I am an addict, but I get paid to indulge in my habit. It's all an illusion, I'm wearing makeup, I'm wearing makeup.
The song Art is Dead was way ahead of its time and shockingly profound for the 19-year-old, and in a way he spent the rest of his career continuously rewriting the exact premise of this song. Some comedians are prophetic and extremely introspective and extrospective about the ever-changing society we live in. They almost know too much for their own good, which results in them seeming highly intelligent, which is also ironic because they are constantly telling silly juvenile jokes, or in Bo's case, singing silly songs. Most people still thought Bo at this point was some theater geek who needs to go touch grass. Mark Maron described his song as cute. Art is Dead is both a confession and a critique, as Burnham wrestles with his role in an industry that is more about profit, ego, and attention than genuine creativity or contribution to society. But because of his Bieber hair and nervous energy, they didn't take him seriously. But the biggest reason why Bo was, and is still successful, is because he truly values the process of developing his act and doesn't rush out new material. In 2010, he explained his mentality. If I don't feel like doing this next month, I won't do it. And if I don't think I'm good anymore, or if I haven't carved something new, then I will quit. This approach is what gave him the time to write and perfect the next stand-up special that would drastically change his career.
Where was I at this time?
First, it's worth mentioning that What was released on Netflix, meaning Bo was an early adopter on 2 different platforms, because nobody could have predicted the absolute powerhouse that Netflix would become, especially in the world of stand-up comedy. Second, people knew Bo was good, but this special unlocked a creative potential that took everyone by surprise. What went beyond the straightforward comedic skits of his earlier YouTube videos, blending comedy, music, theater, and philosophy. He created a multimedia experience that used intricate lighting, sound cues, and staging in ways not typically seen in stand-up. What added a level of maturity and introspection to his work, departing from purely surface-level teenage edgy humor.
You think you know better than everybody. You will die alone. But in the meantime, you might as well tell those silly jokes of yours.
The very first line in the first song he performed said, "You used to do comedy when you felt like being funny, but now you're contractually obligated, so dance, you effing monkey," setting the tone that he was going to explore the more complex dynamics of fame, artistic integrity, and a comedian's role in society.
Being a comedian isn't being an insensitive prick capitalizing on the most animalistic impulses of the public. It's being a hero.
But make no mistake, this thing was still filled with absurdist humor.
Yo, fellas, don't you hate it when you're blowing a guy and he ends up being a fat? Am I right? I've been blowing a fat this whole time?
Or how about the full 1.5-minute section where he simulated himself pleasing himself. But this special is definitely remembered for its impressive musical numbers and exploring themes of our destructive world and existentialism. From God's Perspective is a song that addresses religion as Burnham, from God's perspective, argues that people shouldn't think their religious views protect them from being bad people. He even criticized religious people who constantly argue whose perspective is correct, questioning, but no one entertains the thought that maybe God does not believe in you. This balance of comedy and darker, more personal themes would become a defining element of his style. Perhaps the most memorable part of the show was a song called Repeat Stuff, which criticizes the emptiness of modern pop songs, more specifically the ones performed by musicians like Justin Bieber and One Direction, who use the same formula to hypnotize little girls and rake in millions of dollars. He sings, "Oh girl, I hope you don't think that I'm rude when I tell you that I love you, boo. I also hope that you don't see through this cleverly constructed ruse designed by a marketing team cashing in on puberty and low self-esteem and girls' desperate need to feel loved."
What the songs basically do is they're love songs to girls, and they describe the girls as vaguely as they possibly can, so that every girl can think that that song's about them. So it's like I love how your fingerprints are different than everybody else's, and like I love how your eyes have that like bluish, brownish, greenish color, and your torso is an arm on either side of it.
And just before the end of the track, Bo abruptly interrupts the song to portray the artist selling their soul or body to Satan.
This is a quick one, I guess. Quick ad.
If you're my agent, you might be thinking, oh no, sound the alarms. You're not appealing to little girls who don't have arms, but they can use iTunes, so who needs up? Oh girl, oh hello Satan.
Oh, this thing goes wildin'. Oh shit.
Oh Satan, you taste so good. Repeat stuff, repeat stuff, repeat stuff, repeat stuff.
He closes with the intense and hauntingly orchestrated musical number, We Think We Know You. In the song, Burnham seems to grapple with the pressure of audience expectations, the struggle to stay authentic, and the reality of being placed in a box by his fans and the public. As the song reaches its peak, Burnham stops abruptly, which results in a powerful silence where the audience understands what the song and what the entire special is actually about.
We think we know you. 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 We think we know you.
This ending tells viewers that more than just a comedy show, this was an exploration of the contradictions of our pretentious society, the dangers of celebrity worship, as well as foreshadowing the deeper existential themes that would characterize Burnham's later work. And at this point, Burnham had stopped creating content solely for YouTube, expressing very clearly why he quit.
In 2006, 2007, when I was 16, 17, you guys were 10, whatever, I was convinced, and I think most people were like, oh, Oscar-winning movies and shorts and everything will be YouTube videos in 8 years. It has not happened. And the reason it hasn't happened is because, it just sucks. I mean, go on YouTube and look at a majority of user-generated content. It is god-awful. I know there's some really good stuff, and I know there are probably a lot of people doing good work. They're not getting the most views. The most popular people are, you want to talk about translated mediums and derivative stuff. It's just kids talking about other pop culture. It's the Tonight Show posting their own clips on it. This was supposed to be the medium that bypassed all the corporations and bypassed all this stuff. And it isn't. We lost the internet. I stand by that the internet it had a chance to be the people's medium, and we lost. I was a YouTuber that posted 13 3-minute videos over the course of 3 years. I mean, that was my presence on YouTube, you know? And now being a YouTuber is posting 15-minute videos every other day of your life. You know, it's wild. And it sort of felt like what YouTube asked of you 10 years ago was, you got a little funny thing to post it. And now it's live, reflect yourself, be there. And it's weird, you know. It's the same thing you used to be on Facebook and you make a little website and it's oh, my little picture and my interests. And now it's Instagram and Twitter. What do you think? What do you look like? What do you think? Those are base, weird, deep questions.
However, he did upload this special to YouTube entirely for free, which today sits at over 25 million views. What received overwhelmingly positive reviews and certified him as a mainstream comedian and artist. From there, he unsuccessfully tried to pivot into scripted television. Burnham would be the star of the show. Zach Stone is going to be famous, portraying the protagonist, a teenager who spent the money he was going to use on college tuition to hire hire a camera crew to document his life at home. The character believed he could manufacture fame for himself by making himself look like the star of a reality show with staged events.
Hey! Is that Zach Stone? Did he reinvent himself? Yes. And yes. Who's that hot girl on Zach's arm? Is that Christy Ackerman?
Yep.
I'll do the voices, okay?
Zach Stone is going to be famous premiered on MTV in May of 2013. Despite earning generally positive reviews from critics, including Newsday, which described the show as almost too clever, funny, and ironic for MTV, the show struggled in the ratings during its run, leading to its ultimate cancellation after the first season. In a bittersweet message to his Facebook, he wrote, "If you like the show, I am sorry that you won't be getting more of it soon, but please don't feel sorry for me. I am the luckiest guy that I know. Thank you all so very much. Bo." Aside from his short stint on the 6-second video sharing app Vine, Burnham would remain out of the public eye. He occasionally posted on social media or attended an event here and there, but he spent 3 years working on his songwriting and carefully crafting new theatrical performances, which were on full display in his most successful stand-up special to date, Make Happy. Thematically, Make Happy was nearly the exact same as What?, but perhaps slightly less interpretive and more to the point, and it also is probably Bo's funniest special. He remained consistent in his ability to weave together various genres and styles, blending stand-up comedy, musical theater, and performance art in a way that made his show unpredictable.
We'll do a racial joke about the white people so you don't feel uncomfortable. White people, we like the same foods. Favorite sandwich, peanut butter and jelly, macaroni and... Our favorite chips, salt and the... Wow! Who said it? Get the cameras on them.
Straight White Male is a song on the problems one faces when cursed with being Caucasian, heterosexual, and male, with the irony being that they don't face as many problems since straight white men have historically caused most of the oppression experienced by women, ethnic minorities, and those a part of the LGBTQ community, among others.
We used to have all the money and land, and we still do, but it's not as fun now.
I wrote that song because I just think it's so funny, these straight white men that are coming out and like, you know, and these like, most of what I hear are like the men's rights activists and stuff. It's like, it's like funniest thing in the world where it's like, but affirmative action, what are you talking? It's like everything else in the world is working in your favor. Everything else. Everything. Literally everything else. Can they have one thing? Can we do one thing to make other people more comfortable?
The last 15 minutes of Make Happy takes a dramatic turn as Bo shares that his comedy is almost always about performing itself because he thinks that people are, at all times, doing a performance for one another. He explained, "They say it's like the me generation. It's not. The arrogance. It's taught or it was cultivated. It's self-conscious. That's what it is. It's conscious of self."
Social media, it's just the market's answer to a generation that demanded to perform. So the market said, here, perform everything to each other all the time for no reason. But what I do know is that if you can live your life without an audience, you should do it.
He then transitions to a half rant, half auto-tuned song that was inspired by Kanye West, who at the time was on his Yeezus tour taking breaks in songs to talk directly to the audience about issues in his personal life.
I told you before I started that I was so arrogant that I thought that I would be able to change my own narrative and outsmart the media eventually. Because now that I actually signed my deal with Adidas, I've got opportunity.
The randomness mixed in with seriousness inspired Bo to do a 7-minute rendition of Ye's performance. The first half was about him not being able to fit his hand inside of a Pringles can.
I'll say it again, the diameter of Pringle cans is way too small. 2 radiuses of a Pringle can is way too small. If you feel me, put your hands up. Come on. If you feel me, put your hands up. Look at all these hands that are way too big to fit inside a Pringle can.
And the second half was a little bit more serious.
I don't think that I can handle this right. I don't think that I can handle this right. I don't think that I can handle this right. I look at them, they're just staring at me like, come and watch the skinny kid with a steadily declining mental health, and laugh as he attempts to give you what he cannot give himself.
The special ends on a very depressing yet honest note with the song Are You Happy?, where he essentially in song form asks the audience if they loved or hated the performance, but he recognizes it doesn't really matter what they think because he is not happy with himself. He sings the most profound line at the end, "You're everything you hated. Are you happy?" Bo was still that awkward, charismatic theater kid that his YouTube audience loved. However, here, peaking in fame and success, he recognizes he is just another one of those celebrities that he spent so much time making fun of, who will pander, act like he deserves attention, or his art is somehow better or more valuable than anyone else's. And because of that, he will be rewarded with more money and more fame, only continuing to compound the problem. Perhaps one of the reasons why this special ends this way is because he genuinely believed he was not going to continue doing comedy after this special.
I don't know, man. I am not lying when I am saying it's a very good possibility I don't do it anymore after this one comes out in a couple months. There is a real possibility of that. The show is sort of about my anxiety towards performing. I mean, today was fun and we screwed around with the kids and stuff. But you'll see in the special what it kind of is about. Yeah, I like writing. I feel like I'm a writer. So I'd like to continue to write. I'd love to continue to make theater shows maybe for other people, but I might be reaching the end of the line for me.
So like more poetry books and stuff like that possibly?
Yeah, or writing a show for another person, or like a stage show or musical or something. I'd be more into I'm a little tired of myself. I'm a little tired of writing for myself. I kind of want to collaborate a little bit. There's only so much I can do, and so much of what I write is limited by my ability. Like, I'm not a great singer or anything. It'd be so great to write for someone who can really belt.
Although Bo's outlook here might seem a bit overly self-critical, his material and creative direction for both of his specials were almost exactly the same. The only things that felt new were the silly and stupid jokes, which don't really mean all that much. However, his societal critiques, his life as a straight white male, or his love-hate dynamic for performing summarizes his entire act. Since he became famous at a young age,
you are a fighter, and this is your...
This might be the most into...
he didn't have much time to be normal. He knows being a celebrity is unrelatable to comedy fans, and typically the more famous a comic gets, the less relatable they become, which negatively impacts their jokes. But another huge reason why Bo was not going to continue to do comedy was because his anxiety was so bad to the point where he felt physically debilitated on stage, backstage, or even just doing ordinary tasks.
Well, it was so constant that I didn't think it could have been. It was every day, which actually probably should have pointed to anxiety. But and then it really, when I was 23, I had my first panic attack on stage, and that was like, oh shit.
How did the show continue?
It continued. I've had
You pushed through it.
Yeah, I've had about 10 on stage, and I have a script that I have to keep to. So I have this inner monologue freaking out, and then I'm having to perform.
But you found that you're able to still perform the script while having a somewhat out-of-body experience.
Yeah, I
That
was.
sounds crazy.
But it was like I'd be a little out of breath. So I'd be the entire show for 20 minutes would be existing on the inhale kind of. It definitely wasn't my best work.
It seemed like no matter what Burnham did, he could not subside his anxiousness, and performing just made it worse.
It's very literal. I cannot handle performing in front of you people. It gives me panic attacks. I want to stop. And I did.
And so it was decided. Bo Burnham was done performing live on stage. Instead, he wrote and directed his first feature film, 8th Grade, which was produced and distributed by A24 before premiering at the Sundance Film Festival in January of 2018. 8th Grade follows 13-year-old Kayla Day during her final week of middle school. Shy and socially awkward, Kayla struggles with anxiety and self-confidence while navigating the pressures of adolescence, social media, and the desire to fit in. Despite her timid nature in real life, Kayla posts motivational YouTube videos, giving advice that she struggles to follow herself. Even though this film is not an autobiography, it feels heavily rooted in Bo's own experience as a young person trying to navigate this hyper-connected world.
I had felt like my anxiety for a long time was very specific to me being a 25-year-old comedian with an audience. And then I would like do my shows, and like young kids would come up to me and say they felt like me, and they felt like they knew what I was going through. Even what I was talking about was like being on stage in front of thousands of people. I'm like, why is this resonating with you? And I just think the sort of pressures, the weird pressures that are usually only afforded to like D-list celebrities have now been democratized and given to everybody. So I was always interested in like, who are telling a story about someone on the internet that nobody's watching? Because the internet tends to, and the culture at large tends to only talk about the people on the internet that are being seen, but the majority of people on the internet.
And there's a lot more and more who are just talking to the camera and nobody's watching.
Yeah, and that's 99% of the videos that are uploaded, 99.9, you know. And the only thing we talk about is like people that go viral. And as someone that went viral, it's really not that interesting.
8th Grade garnered a 99% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes and holds an average rating of 85 out of 100 on Metacritic. Burnham won the Directors Guild of America Award for Outstanding First Time Feature and the Writers Guild of America Award for Best Original Screenplay. It was also during the marketing and promotion of this film that Beau did the most press he has ever done, participating in various interviews and podcasts. We finally got to hear Beau speak at length and realize just how prophetic, introspective, and thought-provoking he was, without him trying to be funny.
And also the political problem for me, if I've identified it, is the volume of noise. So no noise I contribute to it is gonna save that. To me, my political view is shut up to just please, can we all be quiet for a day? Like a day. Yes. Just, if someone does something on Monday, on Wednesday, we can hold them accountable, but just Tuesday, just like, let's just all be quiet. And the problem with Trump is that like everyone is cashing in. Why is everyone pretending like the comedians are thrilled? This is exactly what they wanted. Everyone wanted someone to make fun of and eviscerate, and to act like you're gonna play the victim and cash in at the same time. This is exactly what the system called for, specifically entertainment did. We called for a big boisterous guy that was an easy target, and we got it. So to keep making jokes, the jokes are as much keeping him alive as his support is. You're not gonna, he's a clown like erected for this purpose. So to think we're tearing him down with the thing that he, you know, at least 50% of him is there for, I think is just silly.
Beau seemingly can't decide if everyone having an opinion on literally everything is good or bad. Maybe we're drowning out the experts that deserve to be heard more than the ordinary person. Or maybe we can't trust the experts because they have the incentive to not tell us the truth. Therefore, the more talking from the ordinary person and the more information that we get could be better.
Which is to try to give a more subjective, emotional description of what the internet is. Not like a description of the internet as most people do, which is like the rates of cyberbullying are up and kids are spending 5 hours staring at a screen and they're getting headaches. And it's like, no. What is the feeling of, and you hinted at this, walking through your life and not just living your life, which is already hell and impossible, but taking inventory of your life, being a viewer to your own life, living an experience, and at the same time hovering behind yourself and watching yourself live that experience, being nostalgic for moments that haven't happened yet, planning your future to look back on it. Those are really weird, strange, disassociative things that are, I think, new because of the specific structure of social media and the way it sort of disassociates ourself from ourself.
And not only was he just upset at this overstimulating, hyper-connected world that big tech companies have created, he went to the Google headquarters and confronted them directly.
I don't know, I just don't think we're totally processing. I think we're maybe processing on our own internally, but are we processing it as a group? What this thing means, what it's doing to kids, how it changes them, how significant this stuff is. You know, you want to say the word sh on television, you got to go to Congress. You know, you want to change the neurochemistry of an entire generation, you got to be 5 people in a room putting your hands up in Silicon Valley. You know what I mean? And it's crazy. It's really strange. Yeah. You know, you put a 50mm lens on a camera on a phone, and all of a sudden kids can take compressed images that are beautiful portraits of themselves. Is that good? Should we allow that? Does everything need to be streamlined? Right. We can talk to 5 people. Now we can talk to 500. We can talk to 30. Do we need to actualize our social lives in the same way we're actualizing our clean energy and our travel? I don't know. You know, I just worry we're going to look back on this like we looked back on smoking, going, why are we all doing this? And the equivalent of my doctor smoked will be my shrink had a Twitter. You know what I mean? So I just, the conversation is changing so rapidly. You know, and by the time kids get old enough to become the adults that can then change things, the paradigm has shifted beyond anything they know. You know, it's really weird. I mean, now we're going way off the rails, but I'm interested in it because you guys are all obviously smart, young, engaged people, and it's these conversations I have are everyone's having them all the time privately, but it's very hard to have it in public, you know, because maybe it's slightly critical of the exact medium that the conversations are being had on. And probably the mediums have a vested interest for these conversations not to take place, he says as the audio feed cuts out.
Bo had clearly developed a great disdain for our over-reliance on smartphones and social media, but he wasn't blaming humans for getting addicted. That's what they were designed to do.
They're coming for every second of your life. That's what these companies are coming to. This company as well. And it's not because anyone is bad. It's not because anyone in this company has evil plans or is trying to do this. They're not even doing it consciously. It's because these companies like Twitter and YouTube and Instagram and everything, they went public and they went to shareholders. So they have to grow. Their entire models are based off of growth. They cannot stay stagnant. Twitter grossed $4 or $5 billion last year. It is in the red. It is unprofitable. It has to get more of you. That could be the ceiling for a place like this. YouTube, the ceiling could be 3 hours of engagement. No matter how nice it's trying to be, it is all that they're trying to get more engagement from you. We used to colonize land. That was the thing you could expand into, and that's where money was to be made. We colonized the entire earth. There was no other place for the businesses and capitalism to expand into, and then they realized human attention. That they are now trying to colonize every minute of your life. That is what these people are trying to do. Every single free moment you have is a moment you could be looking at your phone and they could be gathering information to target ads at you.
Now, this may be much harder for children to grapple, but for adults, you can fight this. You just have to consciously choose where you are spending your time online and constantly reevaluate what you are watching and why you are watching it. Now, I personally benefit from this exact system. I quite literally need you to watch longer as it improves my livelihood, but I don't really know how much of you are watching this intently. Some of you are driving right now, or cooking dinner, or just laying down and you have me on in the background, but now I got your attention, so hey, how you doing? So while I do appreciate you being here and spending your time on something I and my team created, I just hope that it was at least by choice and that you weren't tricked or hypnotized and stuck in some sort of content wormhole. Anyways, Burnham made it apparent that he was more interested in writing, directing, and acting than live comedy. I stepped away from stand-up after Make Happy, Burnham told Rolling Stone. I just felt like I did what I wanted. I had no more ideas in that space and I felt like I'd sort of exhausted myself as a subject. Burnham did not perform live stand-up for 5 years, and instead he used that time to work on his struggles with mental health and various other creative projects. And in January of 2020, he finally felt like he got a grasp on his mental health. He felt better and wanted to pursue comedy.
I feel like this is not gonna be good, as we all know what happened in 2020, so I hope that didn't affect him. At the same time, maybe being at home hella helped, or not having to be out doing something.
Comedy on stage again, and just as he was preparing to come back, the entire world shut down as a result of the 2020 COVID pandemic. While being forced to be alone and locked in his house, Bo had basically nothing else to do than to scroll social media. Being forced to witness the riots, protests, political discourse, celebrities getting canceled, comedians complaining about cancel culture, brain rot, and all the other mind-numbing whirlwind of chaos we all subjected ourselves to during the pandemic. Bo's awakening towards the horrors of social media, big tech, and human psychology, combined with being stuck at home, would be the inspiration for his final Netflix comedy special, Inside. Inside was not very funny, and he sets you up for that by saying in the beginning that he does not really know what this comedy special is supposed to be. Inside was created entirely within a roughly 500 square foot detached apartment in his backyard. This was created during the lockdown to artistically recreate those feelings of loneliness and isolation we all experienced. Bo immediately sets the tone that this special is going to be, yet again, more social commentary, and the themes he explores are pretty much the exact same as all his previous specials, starting off with Healing the World with Comedy, the track that tells the same exact message as his 2013 song, Sad, expressing that comedians often feel or are perceived as heroes for essentially distracting their fans from the horrible atrocities in the world by telling jokes, even though the jokes don't do anything to remedy the problems for the actual victims, but allow you to just feel better about it.
The world needs direction from a white guy like me.
Additionally, Bo sings about wanting to help, but also still wanting to be the center of attention, which is critical of the celebrities and really anyone on social media who feels the need to share or post a video of them doing some sort of good deed. The difference between Bo's approach in Inside versus previously is that this song is not funny. It's actually just sad.
Like, I did not feel good watching this. You know, this is not a feel-good special. This is not a feel-great special.
Then Bo busts out Socko, a sock puppet, for the song How the World Works, to what you think is going to be some cheesy, corny children's song about sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows. The tempo and structure of the instrumental is straight out of a Muppets cartoon.
Socko, we were just talking about the world and how it works.
Boy, that sounds complicated.
And then out of nowhere, Socko goes full-blown radical conspiracy theorist, explaining the true terrors of the world in an eerily fun and educational way. Socko sings, "The simple narrative taught in every history class is demonstrably false and pedagogically classist. Do you know the world is built with blood and genocide and exploitation? The global network of capital essentially functions to separate the worker from the means of production, and the FBI killed Martin Luther King. Private property is inherently theft, and neoliberal fascists are destroying the left, and every politician, every cop on the street protects the interest of the pedophilic corporate elite.
Don't you know the world is built with blood and genocide and exploitation?"
However, this is one of the very few upbeat and slightly funny moments. From here, it continues to get darker and sadder. The rest of the special definitely has a lot of anti-capitalism, anti-monopoly, anti-Silicon Valley rhetoric, but it's mostly packed with existential angst, melodramatic insights on his life as an entertainer, which double as metaphors for your life as an entertainer. That is, if you use social media and document any part of your life for your audience, I mean, friends and family. This theme is perfectly actualized in the ballad All Eyes on Me.
Don't overthink this, look in my eye, don't be scared, don't be shy, come on in, the water's fine.
However, the high point of the special, which I'm imagining should have been the original outro as it landed exactly on the 1 hour mark, is the song Welcome to the Internet. With this video currently sitting at a staggering 147 million views on YouTube, this is easily Bo Burnham's magnum opus. The instrumental has this bouncy and fun Dr. Seuss nature to it, and Bo's delivery and round glasses give off the same slightly dark and uncanny energy that Wonka does. He takes the role of this omniscient voice of the internet, inviting you into an endless source of entertainment, information, and connection, while also reminding you about the harmful content, misinformation, and degeneracy. The chorus, "Can I interest you in everything all of the time? Apathy's a tragedy and boredom's a crime," highlights how the internet is always there to trap you in an endless cycle of consumption because today's humans cannot handle a moment of understimulation or boredom.
Welcome to the internet, what would you prefer? Would you like to fight for civil rights or tweet a racial slur?
He then goes on to mention that life was not always like this, and you think he's going to pivot to a moment where this was all a big accident and life was so much better before the internet, only for him to explain that getting people addicted to this social hellscape was all a part of some evil corporate plan. Mommy let you use her iPad, you were barely 2, and it did all of the things we designed it to do. Now look at you. It was always the plan to put the world in your hand. Then the song shifts from playful to sinister, with Bo's maniacal, evil laugh that makes the audience realize how trapped we are, and how the elites who run this world are laughing at the endless ocean of money they are pouring in at the expense of human civilization. This track is by far the best overall representation of Bo Burnham's art. It's funny, It's got amazing songwriting and creative wordplay. It's got great singing. It's eerie and slightly uncomfortable. It's thought-provoking and self-aware, and also an incredibly accurate summary of our civilization. Even Bo knows that he just peaked, so much so that he might even want to disappear. The very last song is the track Goodbye, where Bo expresses how badly he wants to just stay inside, how he wants to stop being the jester, stop being another cog in the entertainment wheel of distracting the world from real problems and thwarting human evolution. But ultimately, he knows that one day his relevance will decline, or he will be financially drained, or simply needing the approval of others, resulting in him going back to the stage and repeating this same cycle he has been stuck in for 14 years. I swear to God that all I've ever wanted was a little bit of everything all of the time. Apathy's a tragedy and boredom is a crime. I'm finished playing and I'm staying inside. Bo Burnham wanted a little bit of everything all of the time. He wanted to be a theatrical performer. He wanted to be a comedian. He wanted to be a musician and a songwriter. He wanted to be introspective and thought-provoking, but he wanted to be crass and silly. He wanted to be quirky and cute. He wanted to be tall and handsome. He wanted to fit in with the geeks and the jocks, but once he got it all, he no longer wanted it, but he needed it, because everyone's got to make money, and trying to balance all of this without going insane is next to impossible, which is likely why his mental health has deteriorated to the point where he has disappeared off the internet and is nowhere to be found, clearing all of the content from his social medias and replacing them with an ocean representing himself being lost at sea, but hopefully at peace. Or maybe he is just this fraud who puts on this fake melodramatic persona while he rakes in millions of dollars just like all of the other Hollywood phonies he claims to hate so much. I don't know.
Well, damn, you drop a fucking bombshell like that at the end. What the fuck? Because now I'm thinking, oh shit, is he? Yo, that is one of the best videos I've ever watched. I've seen that dude because I've seen that clip before. So I kind of, when I started seeing his stuff later in life, because I mean, in 08 I was looking junior college and shit. So, I started seeing that. I seen that stuff later in life, but even like this right here, like just what it kind of it inspired me, Loki, to like delete all this shit. I was like, damn, should I even? I mean, I just do it because I was bored. I was off of work a little bit, so I figured I'll just start doing some reactions. But no one cares. I have a travel channel. It has about almost 400 subscribers. People watch it. My family watches it. My folks watch it. They tell me all around the world how good, hey, good job. But no one watches that shit. I feel like it's okay work. You know what I mean? It could be better, and it's crazy to even put it out and say it could be better. But I don't know how to edit that good. I don't. And my footage is some that people don't want to see. It's just me going around to monuments and stuff like that, and stuff that I want to see because I've never got to see the world and stuff like that. I never took family vacations. We never do none of that shit. So I figured now that I'm grown and my daughter's in college or whatever, man, I can go see the world and you know whatever. But it's not Drew Binsky. It's not with any of the other dudes, and I don't. And when you're like I always say this, but when you're a black YouTuber, your only way you're gonna get any kind of subscribers is by showing girls, showing ass, and just going to these places that just, what I'm saying, little sex tourism and shit like that. And I've never been need for that because niggas that do that, they never got no cat at home, so you have to go and act like you're the man in these third world countries and shit like that. That's why all those fat white dudes and the ugly white dudes go to China and not necessarily China, but the Vietnams and the Thailands of the world and just get a wife like that. I guess you could say that's decent looking, but who was so poor that they have to go out with a 40-year-old ugly fat white man who doesn't take care of himself, who doesn't bathe himself and stuff like that in order to just feel like the man out there. But this dude, he puts it all in your face, you know what I mean? And he makes you sit back and think like, damn, it's, I never feel like it's a waste of time, of course, because I mean, I want to see these places anyways in life, but I don't know. I'm ranting, of course. Great video by PartickCC. Thank you, and shout out to Bo, man. You know what I mean? Funny, I always use Bo Knight as my 2K. That's my 2K handle. But anyways, man. Yeah, subscribe if you want to, like if you want to, watch if you want to, and I don't know. I'm at a loss for words right now, but appreciate y'all, man.